Let's welcome Tushar Kumar. Tushar is an Azure certified cloud solution architect and an Microsoft MVP, recognized as an Azure community hero. And he has extensive experience in designing the secure cloud architectures and leading the enterprise cloud transformations. So we are excited to have him with us at Microsoft Purview and at Defender Days 2026. Over to you, Tushar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shreya, and thank you so much, Oliver. You set up a really good foundation for me to build on my topic in here. So, whatever you heard in last 45 minutes, I would say just hold on to it for another 45 minutes. You will be definitely building a lot on top of that. So, hopefully my screen is visible now. So before I get started, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone that you're joining in from. Thank you so much for joining us today. And there is lots of great sessions happening right now with a lot of Defender and Purview goodness that you would see. I'm just going to add on a little bit on top of it. And that's basically going to be a topic of how you can secure and protect your data specifically with DSPM for AI. So now we know everything is about AI, so why not security first thing? And basically all the people using AI within the organization, they're making a lot of mess. So we need to make sure as a security professionals, we have something in place or we have some controls in place on top of that. And trust me, during the session, I'm not going to tell you something of really amazing and new technology that has came in, which is which you're going to use now. It is going to be more building on the existing technologies on a specific manner and molded towards AI. Okay, so today's agenda is going to be first thing is we are going to look at what exactly is the problem. And then we are going to look at what all are the options we have and what is going to be the roadmap to solve that problem. Once we have that, and I have given myself away a bit here, the answer to the problem is going to be Purview DSPM for AI. So we are going to see a demo of how you can put things on DSPM, what all configurations that you can do, what all is going to be your route to get started, and as well as from end user perspective, how it is going to look like once you have everything configured. So without further ado, right, let's see what is the problem that we are solving. So the main problem that we are solving is, and if you heard the term shadow IT before, that's now turned into shadow AI. Okay, so shadow IT is still there, but you have another, like a brother of it. Shadow AI came into picture because there are agents, there are AI tools like of your ChatGPT, your Gemini, your Claude, and all those interacting with your day-to-day users. You're seeing a lot of interaction by agents with your files, with your organization data, so you need to put some control over that. So in order to do that, we need to put some tooling, we need to put some controls on top of that, right? So if we don't do that, what's going to happen? Okay. It's not like it's going to be the end of the world, but definitely you are looking at a possibility of sensitive data leakage. You're looking at a possibility of getting in trouble with compliance. And also you're looking at a possibility of a reputational harm as well, where an agent or a person asks ChatGPT that, okay, tell me where exactly is problems within this organization, so I can talk to media, I can give them the details, okay? Or this can basically make your life as a security professional very difficult, and you will have no visibility on what is happening, where it is happening. With addressing all these risks that we are looking at, right, specifically around leakage of sensitive data, looking at compliance requirements and all that, basically you are enabling your organization into adopting AI. So you can go to your CISO and say, yeah, we are ready. We can let our users use whatever the AI that they want to use. They can do whatever work that they want to do with Claude, or Gemini or DeepSeek and things like that, but we have certain controls. We have controls in place, which so none of our confidential data or organization data will be fed to all those AIs. Okay, so if we are able to do this within the next 45 minutes, that's well and good. That's going to be a win for us. So how are we going to do this? And how are we going to make sure there is no data leakage with this? So first thing is going to be, we will look at the discovery bit, which is you are looking at what all AI apps are being used. Once you have an idea, okay, these are the AI apps that I'm using. In that case, basically you can look at two approaches. Either you can go with a hammer approach where you just say, okay, none of the chat GPTs, DeepSeek or Claudes of the world you can use within the organization. The laptop is locked down, your web content filtering is blocking everything, and you have basically captured that. You have a basically list of AI apps and it is not going to be allowed within the organization. That is not going to be very useful in a longer run. The reason is if someone is able to do the same task in 10 minutes, they will be definitely looking for ways to get to use an AI. Maybe some AI wrapper which your web content filtering is not detecting at the moment. Maybe some other ways of working it with APIs and things like that. So it can be anything. Like people are creative, but they will definitely look at some ways. So blocking access is not an option or not a really viable option. You can look at it from the perspective of different cloud apps, where you look at specifics of let's say the low risk apps like DeepSeek has scoring of 5, I guess. There is other AI apps which has scoring of the risk score of less than 5 or 4, something like that. You can look at possibility of making sure, okay, I'm going to unsanction those AI apps. That's well and good, but it is not going to work if you're looking at the whole AI suite I want to block. So what's the next option that we have in that case? So we will be looking at more of a possibility of what we can do in terms of securing the data and how we are going to govern the data. So this is going to be the focus area of this session. Whatever the prompt, whatever the configurations and the Purview portal that we are going to see, that's basically going to be revolving around how we secure the data. And whatever you heard so far from the morning, it's basically all of that is going to be feeding into this. If you have not been attending all those sessions, don't worry, but I'll be giving you a quick glimpse of that as well. But basically, it's your tools, it's the existing tools that you have wrapped around specifically for AI that we will be using in this. So without further ado, we will look at DSPM or DSPM for AI. So you might ask why there is a preview feature that you're talking about, and there is a DSPM for AI in there as well. The reason is in the next coming slides here. So I'll just go straight. So you all know where are we going to go if we have to do, let's say, Purview. It's going to be purview.microsoft.com. Under the solutions, and in last few months, you might have seen this popping up is DSPM for AI. Now it is marked as classic in your portal. The moment you go on this, you'll be greeted with a really great message that says, now we are doing AI and non-AI together. And if you click on Take Me There, this will take you to DSPM preview. And this is basically talking about that all the human components and the AI components, we are basically bringing them all together at one point of at one place. So the way it all started is we were looking at more from AI perspective. There was DSPM for AI, and there was DSPM launched from more holistic view of your data and how the components are interacting together. Data parts are interacting together. So if you look at specifically in this one, right? So getting started with this is really easy. So first thing first, what we do is we go in and we check okay, what are the tasks and actions that we have? So if you click on tasks and action, you will be given a couple of actions and you have a setup action tasks here. Within the setup tasks, you will see a lot of specifics around, okay, these are the tasks that you need to follow. It is pretty much like ClickOps game where you're looking at, oh, this is a service that I want to do. This is where I will click. This is the service I want to do. This is where I will click, and things like that. So we will be starting with, so if you look at this, that there is total 9 tasks that we can do. There's total 9 tasks that we can do. Basically, one is, and basically it starts with when you activate Microsoft Purview audit. So let's see. Let me just quickly do that. Okay, so activate Microsoft Purview. We all know Purview audit has been there for long, and we use that for various purposes, from auditing, from Dynamics 365 side, from even M365 side. So that's the first part that you need. If you haven't activated that, you need to activate the Microsoft Purview audit. The second bit is extending your insights, where we are looking at more of, okay, how you are going to extend it for AI app interactions. And this is a new functionality that has came in. It is more around integrating your existing SSE, integrating your network tooling, so likes of your Zscaler and stuff into, so Zscaler is not available at the moment. I will just, but there is couple of integrations available from the network standpoint, so you can get network DLP. Keep in mind, it is not mandatory that you go with all these. These are recommended. As you can see over here, the duration, basically the type is required for audit, because most of the I would say most of the events you are going to catch with Purview audit, but the remaining over here is more of a recommendations. So you are going to activate most of this, but it is not required that you go, and you need to have a tool which is SSE tool providing all the zero trust network access, which you're going to plug into your Purview there. So that's where the second thing comes into. We will be talking about the third one the most here, which is extending your data discovery. So that's where the main thing comes into play. And there are 3 policies within that, right? So first thing is detecting what is shared with AI in Edge, specifically detecting when the user is visiting an AI app. Then we are looking at these 3 policies from, sorry, I'm just ahead of my recording here. So yeah, the third one is detecting when the sensitive information is passed or uploaded to an AI website, right? So if you look at these 3 policies, and you can see all of these says created. The moment you click on those, basically it will give you a prompts to create those policies, and you don't have to look at them from very deep down perspective that what exactly they are doing. You can just go ahead and enable those. Next one down the line is Purview browser extension, and this is one of the new things that has also popped up, which is more giving you a browser DLP session. So whatever we heard just now from the DLP perspective. So when a user is browsing and they are sharing sensitive data with AI websites, right, which is basically can be potentially risky in Edge, in Chrome, in Firefox, Purview browser extension is going to provide all those signals back to Purview in order to determine if it is a risky event, if it is a blocked event from DLP perspective, and stuff like that. Okay, so we move along with that. Next up the line is going to be onboarding your devices to Microsoft Purview. We have been doing it for a long while, like you onboard your device to endpoint DLP. That's all you need to do. Once you have your device onboarded to endpoint DLP, you are good there. Enterprise AI apps, and this is again one of the recommended. So if your organization uses things like ChatGPT Enterprise, in that case, or Azure AI services, you are going to look at this policy where you will be basically connecting your putting policy on your ChatGPT Enterprise AI interactions. Okay. Next up the line, and you'll see is the Copilot experiences. So Copilot is everywhere in all of those different AI apps, right? So specifically for that purposes, there is a Copilot experience policy as well that you will see within the setup task as well, which is going to make sure your Copilot and Copilot agents are basically following all those purview boundaries, and it is under the same data lifecycle management and under the same e-discovery functionalities that you get. So your Copilot agents are not running wild within the organization. That's where you're going to get that. So this is basically, oh, sorry, I think I went ahead. So this is basically going to cover most of the policy part of the things. The last part of this is going to be setup pay-as-you-go billing. So, and you might have seen there is a new functionality, and a lot of policies and the indicators requires now pay-as-you-go billing to be set up. So you need to set up with an Azure subscription. You need to connect your Purview just to make sure a few services, and I won't name them right now that what all are them, but there are a few services now, and one of the bits are around the AI data discovery is more pay-as-you-go service. So, and there is a really nice calculator as well within the portal where you can see what kind of consumption that you are expecting from the pay-as-you-go perspective. So that is another feature that you need to enable in order to get this up and running from the whole DSPM perspective. This is again another recommended feature, but when you're doing all of those up above, you might get asked in one of those that will say, okay, you need to enable pay-as-you-go functionality to enable this particular policy. Okay, so that covers it all from the setup tasks, right? Now there is a couple of them inside that we want to do a deep dive into, specifically around the AI observability and making sure the AI apps are not running wild, or people are not doing prompts that they should not to the Gen AI apps. So we will look at specifics of the DSPM for AI policies, and these are the policies that used to be separated in DSPM for AI. Okay, so the first one down the line is going to be, and I think it's a logical step to understand and basically capture when someone visits an AI site. So whenever a user visits an AI site, you need to capture that, and you need to make sure that is there. So under the extend your insight for data discovery, you will see whenever someone visits a AI site, and you need to go and click on that, and you'll see the policy details. One thing to note over here is you are brought into insider risk management. So remember the line that I said in the very beginning, that it is not a new services. It is basically what you're looking at is existing services working together in terms of giving you an AI's protection there. So it brings you down to insider risk management. Once you are within insider risk management, you will see there is a policy that has created once you configure that, which is detect when a user visits an AI site. And if we go and try to edit this, we will see the configuration is in there. So you have Purview browser extension, what we talked about. We have devices onboarded. We'll just skip through that. Next. And this is where you will see specifically around when a user browsed. So there is indicators and that activities that is triggering this. So here you used to have loads of all of these. There is a new one as well here, which we can see picked. This is what we are going to use in terms of making sure, okay, when someone browses a generative AI website, they get that, they be part of this particular policy. So once we have that, we will go in and click next now. Oh. Okay, then you can pick a threshold, or you can pick a Microsoft recommended threshold, which is basically going to be based on the activities in there. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So you can pick your own threshold. You can basically say, okay, yeah, we want when the user visits 5 times, then tell me. Otherwise, you can pick, okay, when a user visits just once, you'll tell me that, okay, yeah, the user visited something. So that of threshold you can set off. Once you have that threshold set up, basically it will start working. It will start giving you notification. It will start giving you alerts around this, that okay, someone visited AI site, or at least it will start capturing that. The next one is when you are going to set up a policy that is going to detect if someone has added some data into an AI site. Okay, so that is our the last policy in here: detects sensitive information pasted or uploaded into an AI site. That's where, and if we edit this one, let's see where this takes us. So as you can see over here, this takes us to data loss prevention. It is, again, nothing new. We just had a 45-minute session around all of the data loss prevention stuff and what all things that you can do around data loss prevention here. Okay, so data loss prevention, let's see what is the policy that it has created. So whatever we are talking about here is most of these policies are created by default when you're doing the setup steps, right? So we are targeting it onto all the devices. This is the policy, and the rules that we are going to set is audit when someone is sharing data to GenAI devices. So here we have loads of all the identifiers, so different classifiers we have put in, or we can put another sensitivity labels as well. So if we have confidential, strictly confidential kind of labels already defined, we can use those as part of this as well. But basically, you can also put in whatever classifiers, or if you have any trainable classifiers that you are using within the organization, to use that as well. As part of this, if you see here, there is a specific of upload restricted, upload to restricted cloud services and unallowed browsers and paste. So these are the two settings that we will focus on. Okay, so if you look at these two policies, is basically where we are going to set what is the action that we want to take against if we have something detected. So we have set it as block with override. Okay, and we have picked the group with is GenAI apps. So we don't want anything going into GenAI apps which matches the above condition. Same thing is, we don't want anything to be pasted to the browser if it is going to GenAI apps and it is basically matching the conditions that we have above, being it all those classifiers or specifics of your specifics of your sensitivity labels. Okay, once you have all that, you can basically save this policy. You can go ahead, you can see, okay, yeah, you're going to immediately turn on, or if you want to run in a production scenario, you will be running it in a simulation mode for a while before you go back and turn this on. Okay, but this is where your detection of any sensitive data sent to AI apps will be done, or stopping of that. Detection of sensitive data shared into Edge. So I'm not sure if there is anyone here is using BYOD scenarios and you have Edge for Business deployed. So this is basically specifically for Edge, where Edge for Business is going to be responsible and providing you the telemetry. So even on the BYOD scenarios, you can control what is being sent to the AI apps. So Edge for Business, basically here, we will be looking at this particular policy, the first one. So This is again taking us to data loss prevention, and it is going to be a collection policy. A collection policy is nothing but a multiple telemetries put in one place and a policy created on that. So we will look at the first policy in here. This is the DSPM policy, and basically if you look at the data to detect, it is the classifiers, and we are selecting all. And activities is basically text sent or shared to a cloud apps. So if there is anything that you are sending over basically a text, even in the AI, to the AI apps, it is basically going to detect that. So, and we'll see that in the end user experience as well, that how it detects. So that's there. You will see all those apps, and this is basically getting signals from different of our cloud apps as well. So, and also Entra. So basically what we're looking at is all the Entra connected AI apps. We are looking at all the unmanaged AI apps, which is basically coming from your different of cloud apps. And also there are a few in there, which is ChatGPT, Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, and DeepSeek. These are already in place that you can select from the options in there. Okay. Now you just do next. You are going to define if you want to capture the content or not. So the prompts put in and the results given back by these AI apps, if you want to capture those, that's up to you, or you just want to be notified if there is something sensitive that is happening. So you can pick and choose between that. Once you have that picked, in my case here, I'm going with the content capture. You can go with the content don't capture as well. Let's go next. And it is, remember the second policy that I was talking about during the setup steps. There is a network DLP which is coming in, and it has a limited support at the moment. You just have a couple of like Microsoft GSA and SSE is currently in preview, and there is two others as well that is in there that you can connect with, but it doesn't have a huge portfolio of other SSE tools connecting. But this is coming in, so it will increase the portfolio. Or if you are a customer of already Global Secure Access or Entra SSE, you can use that. Oh, sorry. Let me just put this guy back here. Yeah, so. Okay, so you can basically look at, okay, these are in the, if you want to turn it on, you can go ahead and turn it on. And if not, if you're not using any GSA or the supported network DLP services, basically you can just go ahead and turn that on. The next one that down the line is going to be blocking sensitive AI apps. And this is, if you can see, there is a specific code here that's called adaptive here, right? So when we say adaptive, what we are looking at what we are looking at from our perspective is we want to make sure if there is any user, if there is a user who is showing some risky behavior, right? And if the user's risk level is high, the user has been doing something fishy already, and then he goes and asks ChatGPT something or puts sensitive data into ChatGPT, you want to stop that. Irrespective of other users, wherein they are okay if they are using a bit of sensitive data on chats, you're allowing that. Even in the Copilot context as well, if someone is showing a risky behavior and then he goes back and asks questions like, okay, this is something, let's say, what is the financial year? This is the file of all the customers, and give me all the financials and things like that. That's that kind of prompt. So basically you need to detect that behavior. So this is going to basically work in conjunction with insider risk management. So before we go there, we need to understand how we are going to detect the risk of the users. So if you go into insider risk management, you will see there is a user components and you have adaptive protection. And that is exactly where you set up the adaptive protection for your insider risk management. It is not for just AI apps. It is for the overall implementation of even insider risk management, where you do a risks profile, but you will be defining here, okay, this is basically my policy, and then this is going to be my insider risk levels. If you go back to here, you will basically define, okay, if someone does perform 3 sequential high severity stuff, basically he will be a elevated risk. If someone does 2, there will be a moderate. If someone does 1 data exfiltration activity, basically he will be a minor. So based on this, we are going to make sure people whoever are showing like an elevated data exfiltration, they are not going through the same, they are not going to use AI apps to put in sensitive data into it. Okay, so once you have this set up, once you have the risk insider risk level defined in here and your adaptive protection settings done, you can basically then go for the adaptive policy here. So this policy is basically going to talk about, let's just open this one and edit the policy. Okay, so as you can see, again, we are targeting the devices. We are going to say, okay, you have block with override if you have high risk in insider risk management. Okay, so same as earlier, we are going to do whatever is the crown jewels for our organization, or whatever the sensitive data that we want to target it to. We will go with all that. We will put all those in there. If you want to put sensitivity labels as well, you can just add it in there. And then basically you are going to add another criteria here, which is insider risk level for adaptive protection. So if we say elevated risk, so if the risk level is elevated risk, what you're going to do is you can basically pick it, and you are going to put in all the restrictions. So the restrictions can be, and as we have seen in the previous policy, so you can put in for Gen AI applications, and that is going to be, okay, this is what we can upload, this is what we cannot upload, and things like that. And you have an option to block with override, you have an option to basically allow or just audit and things like that, as we do usually. Okay. Once you have all that configured, all you can do is save and basically go on. Don't turn it on immediately in production, but what you can do is you can put it on simulation mode and use it afterwards for your once you have a simulation results with you. Okay, so how does that look like from end user perspective, right? So now we have seen the whole part of configurations and everything, and you are going to be asked this question once you start implementing this, that what is going to be the user impact, how the users are going to see this, what the users are going to do. So here is, in my company, there is Brian, the rogue employee. He has a PII document, which is marked as strictly confidential. He has some data into it, and he tries to copy that data over and tries to put that in ChatGPT. The moment he tries to do that, basically he gets a prompt that says, okay, you need to provide a justification to do that, or if you have it set up as a block, you will be basically straight away blocking that. So he goes back, he looks at DeepSeek and says, okay, no, I'm not just going to try it in ChatGPT. Let me try that on DeepSeek. Same thing, if he has to paste that, just because it's sensitive data, he has to give a business justification why he wants to paste that. And if he's not giving a business justification, or he doesn't want that to go in the audit trail, he will basically not be allowed. So the same thing happens, and if you have, let's say, a file which is marked as not internal, you can just paste that, and this is basically, and it doesn't have a lock, if you see on top here, so it doesn't have a lock that says it is encrypted, so it won't be stopped from doing this. Although the example is very bad, it says an internal, that shouldn't be allowed to be shared. So The next one down the line is going to be, let's say if we have users, so you can't stop users from typing in, right? So that was copy pasted, and you can say, oh yeah, we have policies on copy paste and things like that. But what if the user goes in and types in the details? So let's say I have a project this, and I'll type this, but if they do this, if they go in and say, okay, my social security number is this, basically they will be blocked because I have a policy. We saw there is a huge list of classifiers that I have put in there. So what social security number is one of those. So it says straight away blocked. If I go in, try the same thing, okay, let me go in here. And if I go in and type the same thing, I go in and say, okay, my social security number is X, Y, and Z. This is basically going to stop me from doing that, hopefully. It's pre-recorded, so I know it is going to. So that is where we will basically see it working. So from the end user perspective, they will be blocked. They will be blocked by the organizational policy whenever when they are trying to put in some credentials in there. Okay, so with that, basically, I think I am done with my I'm done with my session. I will just give two key items and key takeaways from my session. One is going to be labeling your data is very important. You need to make sure people are using the labels and people are understanding what exactly, and this we have been saying it from now, I'll say Stone Ages, that we need to put, and it's been the compliance and ISO requirements that you need to label your data. You need to put something to make sure the data is identified as classified or confidential, non-confidential. That is very important. So that is not going anywhere. You should be using that. There are now very well tools. DSPM is not just for AI. There is a lot more. So there is a human and non-human terms that we talked about. That is there. And the next thing is Purview is not complicated. All you need to do is follow the prompts and you will be able to do all the stuff in there. Okay, we have questions. Any questions? Oh, can't see the chat. Not able to find the chat in here with. Okay, is the DSPM feature for AI auto block feature with other LLMs is available with E3? So the endpoint DLP, so it's as I mentioned, right? So you don't need to think of it from I would say specific DSPM perspective. It's basically whatever you used to get as. So if you're getting DLP as part of your E3, so the specific areas that you have covered as part of DLP, you can put the AI policies on that as part of E3, but it will require an E5 license specifically in your case. And also from you will need an pay-as-you-go setup as well, just for the edge policies there. Okay, any other question?
Yeah, folks, do you have any questions? All right, so we can wrap up the session. So many thanks to Tushar for an incredible session. We truly enjoyed the valuable insights that you have shared with the community. So we really appreciate you taking the time to join the event and sharing your expertise. Thanks for joining, Tushar.
Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you so much for listening to me for 45 minutes here.